Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's makeup tutorial, I got my favorite model, Lean, to be my model for this tutorial. I hope you guys will enjoy this makeup tutorial and the way it turned out. So without a further ado, let's go ahead and let's get started. So Lean has already applied moisturizer prior to the makeup, so it's all good. Moving on to the eyes, we're going to use Soft Ochre by MAC Paint Pot. And I'm just going to cover the entire lid, including her brow bone and her entire eye area. This is to sort of create a base for my eyeshadow. Once the application is done, I'm going to use a damp beauty blender to blend that into her skin. Moving on to my eyeshadow palette, for that I'm using my Huda Beauty Warm Palette Mini Obsession palette. All the colors are pretty much shown on the video itself. The colors doesn't really have an individual name to it, so I really can't tell you, but I have shown everything on the video, like what color I'm using and after what. So basically the trick is I'm going to work on her eyelid, and as I'm working I'm going from lighter to darker, so I'm eventually going to make it a little more darker and more vibrant. So I'm just going to work my way from light to dark. It's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go over the steps with the eyeshadows because it's pretty much self-explanatory. I'm going to write down all the brush number down below on the description box for you guys to have a look. For the color reference though, you can also look at the video itself because all the colors are pretty much shown on the palette. Once the eyeshadow application is done, it's time to do the lid. For that, I'm going to use my Inglot Aqua Stick in number 12. This is actually their liquid eyeshadow, and it does not crease or budge, and it dries super fast. And what I love about it is it just makes her eyelid pop, and that just basically makes the whole entire eye makeup look so beautiful. To blend the outer edges, I'm going to use that dark color and sort of blend the edges around the lid color. And just to create a sort of like vibration and also to create a gradient, I'm going to use that lighter brown color right in between the lid color and the outer edge. To add a little bit of drama, I'm going to be using my Stila Cosmetics Magnificent Metal in shade Smoky Storm. Moving on to my outer edges, I'm just going to darken this outer space so that it looks more like defined. For my brow bone, I'm going to be using the shade called Nylon from MAC Cosmetics, and also for my inner corners, I'm going to be using the same shade. And I'm just blending it out with my MAC 217 brush. Moving on to my eyeliner, for that I'm going to be using 3 different eyeliners. The first one I'm using is by Kat Von D. Using my Kat Von D's liner, I'm just going to outer line the liner. This is to guide me as where I want to put the liner. Once the outer line is complete, I'm going to move on to my NYX Cosmetics eyeliner, and I'm just going to fill the inner part of that eyeliner. Next, moving on to my Essence liquid liner. This is a very liquidy liner and it's a lot black, and I love it because it glides on top of the glitter pretty well. And so I'm going to be using that to make the eyeliner look more vibrant and darker. You must be wondering why did I use 3 different liners, because 3 different liners have 3 different sort of brush. The first one was a very fine defined brush by Kat Von D, so it's really good to apply in terms of drawing out the line. Then I had my NYX Cosmetics eyeliner, which had a little bit of felt tip, a little more rounder at the edge, so it was easier for me to fill that up. And then next I'm topping it up with essence because it's very liquidy, so it glides on top of the glitter pretty smoothly without bothering the glitter. Now moving on to my face, I'm going to use a little bit of more moisturizer from MAC Cosmetics, and I'm just applying that using a stippling brush. Moving on to my foundation, I'm going to be using my L'Oreal Pro Match Concealer, and this is actually to just cover her under eyes and around her mouth areas that has a little bit of that redness. And this is going to look a little more orangey and peachy. That's because she's a lot lighter than the concealer that I've just used, but that's okay because we're going to even it out when we finally apply foundation and highlighter and contour and all that stuff. But the reason why I used it because it covers it very well. Like her discoloration in her under eyes covered pretty well. Moving on to my foundation, I mixed 2 foundations together. One was Inglot HD foundation in number 71, and then I've used my L'Oreal Pro Matte foundation in number 104. HD foundation actually gives me a very good coverage, and it photographs very well, it video records very well, and it shows up very nicely and smoothly. And then I've used L'Oreal Pro Matte 104 because it dries matte, which also helps me in creating that velvety look. Moving on to my cream highlight, I'm going to be using the color called Ivory by Cosmetics. This is their TV paint stick, and it is actually one of my most favorite foundation ever. Using my damp beauty blender, I'm just going to blend all that on her higher points of her face. So I'm just going to go over under her eyes, on the bridge of the nose, on her forehead, a little bit on the cupid's bow and chin. Once all of that blending is done, it's time to set the under eyes with powder. As I'm pouring the powder onto the pen, I have asked my client or model to stare or look up to the ceiling. That way I can just quickly go underneath her eyes and set all of that with the powder. And this way, when she looks down finally, all that under eyes is already set, so no more creasing or any of that is going to happen. If you also notice, I'm also dabbing that powder around her laugh line because often when we smile a lot, there's a line that creates around our mouth. We don't want that happening. So I'm just going to set all of that with powder, also a little bit on the foreheads to avoid having fine lines. So once all of that is done, it's time to dust away all that excess powder. So using my Real Technique brush, I'm just going to dust off all of that powder off her face. Time for contour, and for that I'm using my Inglot AMC powder in shade 505. This is a beautiful contour. It has a little bit of gray, so it suits every light skin tone because it doesn't make it look too orangey or too like bronzy tone. So this is very nice actually, and if you look, it suits her skin tone very well. For my nose contour, I'm using my most favorite brush by Inglot Cosmetics. I believe it is an FS5 number. And it's so easy to use that, especially around the nose area. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just creating a clean contour look by using a little bit of that translucent powder right underneath the contour. Once that's done, moving on to the blush, I'm going to be using my Tarte Cosmetic blush in shade Party. And this shade actually suited her skin tone really well. Once all the face stuff is done, I'm going to move back onto my eyes, and for that I'm going to be using a nude pencil on her waterline by NYX Cosmetics. Now working on her under eyes, I'm going to be using my MAC 212 brush, which is my current favorite for under eyes, and I'm just going to settle that powder right underneath her line. And I think this brush actually deposits the color pretty well right underneath the eyes without having to smudge a lot. Moving on to her inner corners of her eyes, I'm going to be using the same color Nylon from MAC Cosmetics, which I've applied on her brow bone. Once that's done, moving on to the mascara, I'm going to be using Inglot Mascara, and this is the long for Inglot Mascara since I didn't have a disposable one, so I had to open up a new one because I don't want to contaminate my model, so this was the best solution I had. This is actually by far one of my best favorite mascara. I believe I own like almost 6 or 7 of them. Once that's done, I'm going to spray her entire face using MAC Fix Plus, and using my damp beauty blender, I'm going to dab her face so that all of that powder and the makeup setting spray sit together. For the highlighter, I'm using Opal by Becca Cosmetics. For today's makeup look, it's a very glam makeup look, so I'm going to be using 2 different highlighters. The next one I'm going to be using is Marylouminizer by Bum Cosmetics, and I'm just going over the opal highlighter. I actually used a no-name brand lash for this makeup look, so I'm not sure which one was it, but I will try to look for it online. For my brows, she already had it tattooed. I'm just going to go over the sparse areas or the lighter areas wherever the powder was sitting by Benefit Cosmetics, a Precisely Brow Pencil in number 04. And I'm just topping it up with the Brow Mascara by Inglot Cosmetics, also in shade 4. Now for lipstick, you're gonna think I'm totally crazy because I tried 4 different lipstick and I topped one over the other. The first one I've tried was Devotion by Milani Cosmetics. Then later I tried putting on Beso by Stila Cosmetics mixed with Dance With Me from MAC Cosmetics. And I finally sorted to Maybelline Python 05 Passionate. This is, I believe, their new collection that has a little bit of shimmer and matte lipstick together all in one in a palette. And I absolutely love the color. It turned out amazing, especially that shimmer right in between her lips. So that's it, guys. This is the final look of the makeup look today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. My model looked stunning. Oh my god. I just couldn't take my eyes off her. She reminds me of so many celebrities like I know. But honestly, this was my favorite look. I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial, and do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope to see you next time on my next video. Till then, take care.